The world we once knew has been lost to shadow. Was it sundered in fire and brimstone? Drowned in flood and rain? Was it tragic decadence? A great fall? Unspeakable corruption? Or did the awakening of magic destroy our world? No one knows for certain. Reach through the shadowy mists. Find a fragment of land infested with shadowy corruption, yet lit enough to find your way. Find a creature of light, a sylph. They are friendly and willing to guide you. Perhaps the two of you can find other survivors. Perhaps this land can serve as a shelter. Perhaps together you can build a sort of haven. Forge friendships to save the world.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Unleashed Games weekly playtest, where you join me, Irina, live as we play through our latest build of Haven, Forge Friendships to Save the World. Haven is a family-friendly cooperative RPG made in the style of World of Warcraft, because I'm a former developer of World of Warcraft. You can kind of see the boxes here. We've got, the classic box. I came in late after launch, and then I helped build the Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, and really got to work on the greatest team that I had ever gotten the opportunity to work on, and also work on the greatest type of game that I think exists, which is an MMO RPG. But the problem is right, these days, MMORPGs just don't get made. They're too big, and it hits that classic category of too big to invest in. So nobody builds them anymore unless you have some sort of mega team over in Asia. But we here in the West actually miss that type of cooperative adventure gameplay that you very rarely get. And I hadn't seen actually until I played Valheim, and Valheim proved to us that you could get that same sort of vibe that you would get in other classics like EverQuest, one of my absolute favorites, without having to have that massive world and that massive population. And that's what really inspired us. And we think that there's an entire category of game that hasn't really been invested in, which is the multiplayer online role-playing game that isn't quite an MMO, but isn't quite just a single player or small group RPG. It's something in the middle. And so we raised $1.3 million in 2023, and we built what you are going to see us play here. We're really excited by what we've built, and we want to bring it to market. And we know that there are a lot of players that are dying to play our game. But the challenge right now is that we need more funding to be able to get this game to market. So as we continue to develop with a little bit of a skeleton and a volunteer crew, meaning nobody's getting paid for the work that they're doing, nobody's getting paid for running the stream, nobody's getting paid for the changes that we keep making to the build, but we still have people who are dedicated and building this game today along with us. In fact, some of them are here in chat, and you'll see them later on when we're actually playing. But the big updates for this week are really that I got to go to GamesBeat Summit. And GamesBeat Summit is a really incredible, small, intimate game conference like if you took GDC and shrank it down to about 400 or 500 people, and the business of games really gets discussed. And Dean Takahashi and his team over at GamesBeat really put on an incredible event and invited me to speak on how to leverage AI in a way that enables teams but doesn't take away human creativity. And that is something that I've been trying to evangelize for quite a while. So I was on a panel with Neil Young, former GM of Ultima Online, and Kayla Komali, the CEO and creative director over on Nyric, which is a Gen AI style RPG, survival RPG title. And we kind of discussed the ways that we use AI internally on each of our teams. And I know right now AI is kind of it's a controversial topic. I actually just saw a headline on LinkedIn as I was jumping in to the stream that said that the problem with games and AI is that consumers don't want it. And I actually agree. AI shouldn't be as part of the conversation when thinking about what goes into the game that players see. That work needs to be made by humans. And we have actually made a commitment to that. Everything that we are playing with in our game, in Haven, is made by a human being. It's not generated by AI. There might be a couple of small things because we were working quickly with a skeleton crew. But the character models that you've seen, all of the models for the objects in our terrain and in our environments, and all of that is made by humans. However, where we do use AI is in places around the business where we need to be able to force multiply, doing things like market research, getting together things that we call like concept tests so that we can test our ideas with the market when we have no resources. So if you all are interested, feel free to reach out to me to talk about how we use AI in really interesting and creative ways without taking away the human component of game development. And we want to be able to change the conversation around AI so that teams feel safer incorporating it into their development cycles, but also, the commitment that we've made to making sure that the games that you play are handcrafted and human originated. The conversation at GamesBeat was wonderful, and we were able to meet a lot of really interesting people and hopefully inspire people to further develop indie games, because when you incorporate AI in a very human-centered way, we think indie developers like us and like our guest have the ability to be able to what we call punch above our weight class. So please be kind to those smaller teams using AI, because we need them to be able to create marketing assets that allow us to reach out and communicate with players in a way that doesn't cost dev cycles from the team that is focused on delivering really great games, but also that we use it just to make our businesses work with a smaller and smaller team. So speaking of small teams, our guest this week, I'm very, very excited to share what they're working on and who they are. Heather Cerlan comes to us as the CEO and creative director from Near Studios, and they are developing an incredibly innovative title. And it's innovative in a way that makes you feel nostalgic and feels like it makes you feel at home in a way that no other game title has, at least for me. And I'm so excited to share it with you all. I'd like you all to welcome, please, Heather Cerlan to the Unleashed Games Playtest. Hi, Heather.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. I love that you're going to come and play Haven with us. And you're not an MMO player, correct?
I'm not. I never really got into MMOs. I've been playing games since I was probably 4 years old, but I was more into action adventure, narrative driven games, and like some strategy 4X titles. But yeah, never really got into MMOs. I don't know
Wait,
why.
which
It's like,
strategy 4X titles? Like those ones? There's Age of Empires and Age of Mythology up
yes,
there.
I'm a huge Age of Empires fan. In fact, my brother and I, we still jump in and play Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition when we want to just kind of like not put a lot of thought and effort into anything. We just want to catch up and, kind of have an easy playthrough. So that's usually our like fallback.
I love that. I love that. I'm a huge RTS player from the olden days of games, so I appreciate that. And I would love, like, for folks that aren't familiar with you, would you mind kind of giving a background on the games that you've worked on and what your journey has been so far in games?
Yeah, of course. So I've been in the industry since late 2006. I graduated from Full Sail with an associate's degree in computer animation. So I specifically wanted to work in games. Went to school knowing that that's what I wanted to pursue. I ended up getting a job right out of the industry at a serious games company called Virtual Heroes, and they worked on America's Army and a bunch of just random titles, mostly for like.
I remember America's Army.
Yeah, the government and all sorts of just like, I mean, it was very, very random. But it was a great experience in the beginning. Got to jump from project to project, very, very short timelines. So it was, it was very interesting, small team, great, culture and dynamic. But then I really wanted to work in commercial games. That was really like my passion. And so I ended up getting a job at Mythic Entertainment in 2008 as a world builder and environment artist. And I worked on Ultima Online for about 3 years, and I was on the live game, and I helped create Stygian Abyss and the High Seas expansion. And then around the time, like Warhammer Online was having problems, they ended up shutting that team down. Just slowly over time, that studio was, unknown to me at the time, was basically in decline and ultimately kind of on its way to closing its doors. They were shifting teams around onto different projects, and even EA kind of lumped the BioWare umbrella with the Mythic team. And so at some point we were like BioWare, Mythic, and they were just like, all the live service games are gonna, go together in, this BioWare umbrella.
Yep.
So I got the chance to work on Dragon Age 2 because I was really wanting to work on a more modern like 3D game as a 3D artist.
Also an incredible title.
Yeah, it was I had a couple options. Most of the team was moving on to SWTOR at the time, and I again, I wasn't an MMO fan, so I was like, I'd really like to either work on Mass Effect or Dragon Age, and I got this really great opportunity to work on Dragon Age 2 and help out a little bit. I will say I was still working on my responsibilities for Ultima Online and then doing the Dragon Age 2 assets on the side, essentially. And so I was kind of pulling double time for probably the last year or so that I was there at Mythic. And then, waves of layoffs were just constantly kind of happening. And the Ultima Online team was a pretty safe team because it was such a small team, and they were actually one of the more profitable projects. It's an old title. It's been around forever, but the community was really, really tight-knit, and it was a really interesting experience purely from like the community side of things. And so, eventually, I got affected by a wave of layoffs. My dream company at the time was Naughty Dog, and I had been applying multiple times, years leading up. I mean, even right out of school, I went and applied, and I was basically told, we don't hire junior artists right out of school, so come back in like 3 to 5 years. But I kept staying in touch. I was very persistent. And then I think by the third time I ended up doing the art test, I ended up getting the job at Naughty Dog. So there was about 3 or 4 months in between the time I was laid off at Mythic to getting the job at Naughty Dog. Obviously I was like through the moon. I was like, through the roof, over the moon, just like super excited about that opportunity. Ended up moving out to Santa Monica for 7 years while I was
Oh, wow.
close to 7 years while I was out there.
Wait, what years were that?
2012 to 2000, early 2012 to 2000. Like
Okay, after I left Santa Monica. It would have been crazy had we like lived in Santa Monica at the same time.
that would have been crazy. Yeah, I mean it's a small industry, small world. So,
It is really
not too crazy, but yeah, it was a really great experience. I mean, I loved the area. It was a really interesting time, I think, in my career. I learned a lot. That studio had a lot of this like, autonomy essentially, and I had to learn how to just kind of take on responsibility on our own, because they didn't have producers at the time. So you just kind of, work very closely with the individuals that, you're doing, like working on the levels with, and you just get stuff done. It's just, as long as you're kind of fitting in the higher level design specs, you had a lot of freedom to do whatever you wanted.
And what were you working on?
I started on The Last of Us, the PS3 version. And they were like pretty, it was before they showed the first the first demo publicly of, I think that, I want to say that was an E3 of 2012. So I had started a couple months before that demo and jumped right into just starting, on my first level on The Last of Us. And it was a really, really great experience. It was a combination of like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm good enough to be here, just like that imposter syndrome, like super hard.
I have to ask though, not to interrupt, but what do you think of the television adaptation?
Oh, I think it's great. I haven't had it. This is embarrassing. I haven't had time to watch.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
to. I'm very like upset about it, but I just have not had the time to watch season 2. But I really liked the.
I haven't seen season 2 either, so.
Okay, well then, okay, good. Then I
feel better.
Don't feel so bad. But I think that they did a really good job of like staying true to the game, and then just like adding additional stuff that still fits within the world and kind of explains things as it goes. And I thought it was really, really well done. And part of my experience there at Naughty Dog, it was a super cool opportunity I had to work closely with Neil Druckmann on some of the like LGBTQ themes for Ellie, for the DLC. Amazing. Everything from like, I mean, it really just started for me talking about my like coming of age story and sharing inspiration. Just, there weren't a lot of like examples of media out there across like books or TV or film or anything, in 2012 or 2000. Yeah, I guess it was around that time frame. And so, it was kind of hard to give them examples of stuff that like was a good representation of lesbian characters. But I got to basically like be a part of the process of like, hiring or like casting the secondary character Riley, and just kind of giving little bits of feedback here and there, and it's just a really, really cool opportunity. So the franchise is like very personal to me, because there's a lot of like parallels with my personal life. And so it has like a special place in my heart. And so that, like, I think it was like episode 7 in the HBO show, which was like so weird to see, because it's it's pretty close to like my experience growing up with like me being having feelings for my best friend, and very kind of like similar dynamics. So
have your story up on the big screen as somebody else's story, but still your story, but like also you help, or like the source of that. That's incredible.
I mean, it's definitely, it's weird. I don't really have words to describe it, but it is kind of a surreal feeling. But so it's on my list. I need to watch it. Probably post Kickstarter. I'll end up just binge watching it one weekend.
Well, and so you have and after Naughty Dog, where did you go?
So there was a period of time where part of the deal of like moving out to LA with my, I mean, in the early days we were just dating, but with my now wife, we were like, okay, we'll live out in California for a little while. And whenever, she's like, the deal is I'll move with you, but as soon as I'm ready to move back, because we knew we wanted to settle down and start a family and like be closer to our family here on the East Coast. So the plan was always to move back at some point. We just didn't really know when. And then, the crunch on Lost Legacy, I mean, the crunch on every Naughty Dog game was horrific. But it kind of felt like it was getting worse, like each project, like they weren't really, the scope kept ballooning and they weren't really doing a whole lot to like solve some of the production problems. So I was like super, super burnt out by Lost Legacy. But I really wanted to work on The Last of Us 2. I wanted to like be able to, talk to Neil about stuff and just kind of share some of my perspective on some of the LGBTQ themes. And then, I wanted to do actual work on the game as well. Like, so I worked on one of the first levels that went into production. And so those first levels usually have all the, design and just like everybody kind of like thrown.
It's the pattern that you set and then repeat each additional level beyond that with.
Yeah, exactly. So we, I worked there all the way up until we got to our vertical slice and then left shortly after the vertical slice, which was a little less than a year in development. So, or sorry, I don't want to say a year into development. A year after I joined the project, they had like a early look development team, working on the trailer and a bunch of, testing some stuff out as well. But so we ended up basically, I made the agreement with my wife to be like, let me just work on The Last of Us for like a year, Last of Us 2 for about a year. And then we decided we were going to move back. And then I ended up at Bethesda because there's not really a ton of studios in Maryland.
No, there's not a ton of studios here on the East Coast at all.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I had some friends that used to work at Mythic that ended up over at Bethesda. So it felt like a natural fit. So I worked on Starfield as one of the early like incubation artists, and I helped build out a new layered material system with a group of like 16 engineers across like tools, systems, graphics, like they were building the renderer at the same time that we were building these systems. And so while also developing the game, it was kind of crazy. But it was a really good experience. And that kind of helped me, I guess, develop a little bit of the like more like leadership type experience that I felt more and more comfortable about the idea of starting a company. So the spark for starting a company really started like in my later times at Naughty Dog, and then the leading up to leaving, through my time through Bethesda and then leaving Bethesda, I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to start a company. I'm going to go to these 2 startups and kind of get the sense of building something from the ground up and building teams and process and pipeline. So I was at Archetype Entertainment, which is owned by Wizards of the Coast. They're working on a game called Exodus over there, and so I was very, very early on that team as well. I think it was like hire number 3 or 2 or 3 on our team. And then
Wizards of the Coast shut down all of their external dev studios, didn't they?
I believe they're still going though.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, at least I hope so. Knock on wood. I don't have any wood around here, but I think that they're still going. And then Amy Henning, who I worked with at Naughty Dog, who was the creative director on the Uncharted series, they were looking for a lead artist, and I ended up in a conversation with her about it, and I was like, she's like, would you want to join? And I was like, absolutely. Like, it felt like a small version of Naughty Dog. It was like a bunch of ex Naughty Dog folks coming together, and I was like, that sounds awesome. So I left Archetype to join Amy's team, and I was only there for about 8 months before I really was getting that itch. I felt like I needed to start the company. I'd been planning to start this company for like 5 or 6 years or so before I actually pulled the trigger on it. And I was seeing, all these new studios popping up, and I was like, it feels like now is the time. So it was
the heyday of, all these game startups, and you're like, man, I wanted to do this. I relate to this story.
Yeah. So I just did it. I just jumped off and started the company. And initially it was just me, and I was trying to, assemble a team and find my co-founders and kind of work on an initial pitch and all the materials for that. And, it's been a journey since then. I mean, where we were then, it was very different from where we are now. And even like the plans that we made all kind of went out the window as we, kept pushing forward. But yeah, I mean, that whole story is a, a very long story. But that's kind of, the career leading up to starting your studios. And yeah, so, it's been quite the journey. We've been bootstrapping our game Hawthorn for about little like a year and a half, basically, at this point. And yeah, we've been through lots of ups and downs. So yeah. As
Well,
I'm sure you're aware of and have
the
experienced.
startup journey is an interesting one, isn't it? Like
It is, yeah.
It's, there, like you said, there's highs and lows, and it's crazy. And especially like, it's especially frustrating when like you in your heart, that you have a product that people want, and you're building a game that like there is a market for, but it's not necessarily as reachable because it's not a traditional market. And then you have a, especially, it's not just the world where the bottom has fallen out of game funding, which is the world that we live in today. But we have this kind of double-edged sword of building games for new markets that don't necessarily hit the same like validation channels, but there's very definitely a market there. But folks don't know necessarily how to reach them in the same patterns, because that's what we call market expansion, and you have to kind of accept a bit of risk when you do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The struggle is real. And for folks that aren't familiar on the stream, and we have Tozib says hello, by the way, and we have some also accolades for you. That you're awesome. I mean, I know that you're awesome, and I hope like folks will learn just how awesome you are and just how awesome Hawthorn is. Do you want to kind of give us a little rundown, and maybe we'll show the trailer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about Hawthorn.
I appreciate just, you inviting me on the stream and being able to share our story. So yeah, it's awesome. I would love to also have, when we get our infrastructure set up and we can start streaming, I would love to have you on our stream as well. So Hawthorn is a co-op sandbox RPG. There's a little bit of life sim aspects to it, colony sim, life sim. So we're kind of merging a couple different genres together. And when we announced the game, press really ran with this idea of it being Skyrim meets Stardew Valley. And then, the Skyrim references really come from the fact that a bunch of us used to work at Bethesda Game Studios. We also have the lead designer from Skyrim working with us on the project. Bruce is, he's been at Bethesda since like Terminator days. He's been there forever. He's touched almost every single system on every single Bethesda game. He's kind of a legend. And his main thing is like being really good at like balancing systems. So a lot of the like work that will be helping us out with is balancing systems once we've kind of got everything in place. And obviously we're having conversations with him and sharing feedback, but he's basically retired from the game industry. He's made it very clear, like, I'd love to work with you all, but like I'm still retired and I want to help out however I can. So we're trying to be really smart about how we utilize his time. So having a team of ex-Bethesda folks on the team have definitely helped with that like Skyrim connection, I guess. But it really, when we using the word Skyrim to describe the game makes us a little bit nervous because of the fact that we don't have a ton of funding, and the scope of Skyrim is obviously huge. And so
it sets expectations kind of in a different direction too. Like what you imagine is different.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot. So we have to kind of be careful about it and explain that like it's more like an intimate Skyrim. We wouldn't even say that this is in its current state or even in its most immediate plans supposed to be an open world game. So we're still exploring, how we're going to expand the world, because we have to start small given our resources. So, discussing how we kind of grow and expand the game and the world over time, a lot of that will be dependent on our resources, essentially. So, but you basically play as a mouse, an otter, or an owl currently, and we do want to add more creatures, more woodland creatures, and there's also the addition of the Fae in the world as well. It's a fairy tale world, so we're very much inspired by Victorian era, European fairy tales like, Beatrix Potter and Wind in the Willows and Brothers Grimm, and there's going to be even some kind of darker elements.
I get like Watership Down vibes.
Oh yeah, this is the beauty of this IP, is that so many people have their own kind of association with like anthropomorphic animal stories when they were kids. So I mean, there's so many.
Redwall. Did you ever read those books?
I actually haven't, but many of them have.
Wait, you're in Maryland, right?
I am, yeah.
There is a house in Maryland. I'll have to find you the location, but literally the castle from Redwall. I haven't read the Redwall books, but we went and stayed in an Airbnb, which is a replica of the castle of Redwall that was built by the author that you can rent as an Airbnb. And it's got like a dragon statue out in front and like a maze and like a basement movie theater and like, it's like amazing. Local to you. Anyway, sorry, total sidebar.
I have to go check this out because
I'm going to find that listing for you.
Yeah, please do. That's awesome. So yeah, it's a fairy tale setting. It's very charming. It's it has a certain aesthetic. It's very nostalgic, so it kind of hits these different feelings for people depending on what your chosen anthropomorphic animal story from your childhood was, and that's kind of the beauty of it. And it really transcends like cultures, and regardless of like where you grew up, there tends to be some story about woodland animals that people know at least or are familiar with.
Can we show the trailer?
Yeah, yes, please do, because it definitely helps.
That you want to say about the trailer before I play it?
So this is our most recent story trailer. So back in October, we released a gameplay trailer. We wanted to release something that kind of set more of the tone and the feeling, and kind of gives some idea that there is narrative and this lore that's a part of the game. A little fun tidbit: my childhood best friend is the one that did the voiceover for the trailer. So cool. She used to live out in LA with me. Was like an actress, kind of doing some voiceover stuff, commercial work. Ended up moving back also to the East Coast, and we live a couple hours from each other. But she comes and visits every once in a while. And I was like, hey, we need voiceover for this trailer. Would you love to do it? Can you do an Irish accent? She's like, I can try. And so it was a lot of fun, and we just felt like we were kids again, like putting on a play or acting out something. So there's like a even kind of more warm feeling that I get when I watch this trailer because of that association. But it's it's meant to kind of set the tone a bit. So yeah, please.
All right, well, let's go check it out.
Yeah, thank you.
They call it Windermere. This place, nestled in its ancient and unsung valley. They live here, together, the animal folk. Mice from Lundwick, otters from Otterheim, and owls from High Arry. They've returned, resettled this valley, ill aware of its shadowed history. These bold homesteaders explore, carve a place for themselves here, weather the 4 seasons, and lay claim to the land's bounty. Here, they live and they laugh. They forge their own stories.
With a crossbow. So good.
And make memories. I envy them. Perhaps one day we'll earn each other's trust.
Oh my God, I have goosebumps.
Oh, that's very, very sweet. Thanks.
Tozeb has some thoughts. Otters, instantly. Game of the Year material.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, everybody, that's part of the fun. Everybody loves kind of speculating as to like what animals we'll add, and just everybody has their favorite animal and everybody wants their favorite animal in there. So it feels like there's so many ways that we can expand this, in ways that people would love. And of course, we want to add as many animals as we possibly can in there, but obviously with our like very, very limited resources, because we've been bootstrapping this game.
Yeah.
Since essentially like fall of 2023 when we started fundraising for the project. And we were unsuccessful with fundraising and just ended up continuing to push forward and build out what we could with it. And we just somehow managed to keep finding ways to keep going. And it's definitely a labor of love. We've
those of us that survive this dead period in the fundraising market, like we are made of the toughest stuff in this damn industry, I think, pulling it out. And so if any of you resonated with that trailer, which I'm sure a lot of you did, please, please, please make sure to back Hawthorn on Kickstarter. Again, you can see playhawthorn.com/crowdfunding to be able to get a quick, easy link to the Kickstarter and back it. Though the Kickstarter itself, it's already funded. You reached your goal and now you're on stretch goals. Like, how's that been going?
Yeah, it's been going well. We were very fortunate to hit our funding goal, which means that we are guaranteed, that there will be some funding coming through, because Kickstarter, as people may know, that you have to hit your funding goal before you get anything. And so that gives us a little bit of a sigh of relief. But we, the more we raise,
you need more.
We're able to add to the game. I mean, folks that are in game development will know that it takes, literally millions of dollars to make games. And we're really trying to be as scrappy as we possibly can, and, cut costs and be super lean and do this literally in the cheapest way that we could possibly think to do. And so, we've been very fortunate that we've had folks helping out sporadically on the team. Jason Richardson, who's my co-founder, he's the game director on Hawthorn and is the like original vision holder for the Hawthorn IP. He, the two of us are like the two main full-time employees, and then we have a lead designer who
is fractional
from BioWare, who has been helping out mostly part-time or mostly full-time, like I would say probably closer to 30 hours a week. And then we've just had this like crew of folks that have helped out sporadically as needed, all bootstrapping on the project, because we don't have funding to pay folks. And you talked about this earlier. It's everybody just putting in the time for the like hope that this thing will essentially pay off, and they'll be able to like essentially get paid at the end of this when we're able to like release it to the world. Obviously there's a lot of risk in that, and we're very thankful for everybody that's put their time and effort and passion into this project. I will say that's one really, really interesting dynamic, is that everybody that's here is here because they're passionate about the project. And it's a very different feeling than when you're just there with a team making something that you think is cool, but like if your paycheck was gone, you probably would just dip out.
That's a labor of love at this point. The team on Haven is similarly engaged. Like we're here because we love it.
Yeah, and I think the games will show. There's going to be something about the game that will come through, that passion, that that ambition, that drive, like it's going to come through in the game in ways that you can't quite put your finger on, but
It's
I don't know, in my
ephemeral.
perspective, it feels like some of the best games have been made in these ways where it's just like a small team, very passionate, like cranking it out. So
Well, I'll tell you, as we've been talking, I just refreshed your Kickstarter, and you had a couple more pledges, and you're at like 275,000, almost 276.
that's
Uh,
great. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
I'm so excited, and but please, I'm going to say it 100 more times, like back Hawthorn on Kickstarter, because it just, the more money they get, the more awesome the game will be in the end, and you'll get early access at a discount to the title when it launches. So, speaking of titles, do you want to come and check out Haven?
Yes, absolutely. I'm
Let's
excited.
do it. So go ahead and load it up and share your screen.
Okay. I should probably state that this is my first time streaming, like ever.
And thank you for being willing to take the risk.
So I apologize if this is going to be awkward, because it probably will be.
When you're a big game dev celebrity, you're just going to have to get used to interviews. So I'm glad that I can break the ice with you.
As long as people are okay with me being just myself and being awkward, and
that's what we're here for.
I'm not polished. I don't really care to be polished.
I think friends validate the both of us. We like being real on this stream, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely probably wear my heart on my sleeve more than you're supposed to as like the head of a company. I don't know. I've read all these entrepreneur books, and you get a sense of like, oh, a CEO is a certain type of way, and I'm just like, that sounds like a lot of work trying to do something.
It sounds like a lot of work.
I'm just gonna feel something.
Wait, hold on. Tozeb says that you had character. Wait, you worked with Nick Cole?
Yes, yeah. He did some of the character, like these were literally the first concepts that we had of our three main characters. Not main in the sense that like they're characters that you play, but they are NPC characters that we hope that everybody will know and love and like engage with, and they're kind of will be the face of Hawthorn as we develop them out.
That is incredible. Because I worked with Nick Cole at 38 Studios on Amalur, and
nice.
he was it's game dev, right?
Yeah.
But it is genuinely like a pleasure. He's so incredible. Like he's talented.
Super talented. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm a big fan. I'm not actually trying to remember. We met him through a recommendation, and we knew that he was incredible at doing these like wonderful like stylized drawings, and we basically are like, okay, we want to find this balance between stylization and realism, which is really, really tricky to do. So we had a lot of conversations about that in the beginning. We're like, well, we know that you do like stylization really well. And that's exactly why we want to work with you, because you can kind of help us find that kind of charm in the characters that we want to bring. And he did an amazing job with, finding that like stylization. Like, I mean, immediately, like literally the first drawings he did, we were like, oh, these characters are obviously like adorable. But he's one of the folks that was helping us out in bootstrapping in early days, and we're now kind of like, okay, that's like the furthest end of stylization. Now we want to try to find something that's like closer to the realism side, and then kind of pull them closer to each other and find that that blend. So it was great working with him. He's obviously like incredibly talented. So I love that you had that connection.
Amazing. And we have another friend here from Jason Moore.
Jason. It's good to see you, Jason. It's been a long time. That was back in the Mythic days. Virtual Hero days. Virtual Heroes and Mythic as well.
Both.
So a bit of a, yeah.
That's incredible. And also the thing that I wanted to ask, and friends who are watching, like, how would you all feel like in the final days for the Kickstarter of Hawthorn? Can we bring Heather back and play Hawthorn instead of Haven? Like pipe out, like give me your feedback in chat, because I think it would be super cool to actually get a playable look at Hawthorn together on our stream. And maybe we can like kind of iron out the kinks, and maybe you'll start streaming afterwards yourself. I'd love to see
Yeah,
that
I'm definitely
happen.
gonna need your help to like figure out how to set
I
all this
got
stuff
you,
up.
friend. I got
I
you.
appreciate that.
All right. All
I
right.
would love that,
So now you get to create a character.
All
Let's do
right.
this.
We're gonna do, well, I'm gonna be super lame and just come up with just my name because I don't have
You know what? That works.
creativity right now. Let's see, what do we got? We got healers, mages, and warriors. You know, I tend to be the like just go in guns blazing or just like throwing myself into the middle of the fight because I don't really know how to do
it.
anything different. So I'm gonna go with warrior because that's just what I do. And of course, I'm gonna go with female and yeah, just create the character.
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, what did I? Sorry, name already exists. Got it.
Yeah. No. Select your character.
Oh, there we go.
And then enter the world.
Okay.
See, every misclick I look at and I'm like, oh, we could fix the flow there.
Yeah, trying to figure out how to like make it obvious that you're supposed to click the character.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, if you had all the characters there on the screen, it'd be more obvious that like, oh, click one.
Pick one of those.
Yeah.
Yep. And by the way, feedback from chat is they want to see Hawthorn on stream. So
Sweet. Yeah, we have a
we'll do a special
playable
edition
that we are preparing and have some plans for here in the next couple of weeks. So we can definitely get some time set up to run through Hawthorn.
I would love that. All right.
All right. Hello, Spirit.
Can you see me? Excellent. It's a bit more it's still not clear, is it? There's nothing you can do from me, but it looks like it will clear.
We have some narrative.
Great concern. It could be a good spot to see if something will happen, you know. Why don't you get that brush of paper wax and go take a look?
It's only coming out of my left speaker dialogue.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll note that. See, this is my bug post-it list. So, audio for Quest.
Yeah. I assume that. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's my left speaker.
So it's mono audio. Got it. All right.
All right. So give it a whack. Wait, am I not close enough? Oh yeah.
Oh, you're whacking it.
Okay.
There's another thing to whack too.
Oh man. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, get out of here.
So you've got your action bar down on the at the bottom and different abilities.
Ah, yes. Oh man, I already died. This is embarrassing.
No, don't be embarrassed. Lots of people actually die early on.
Well,
Not
yeah.
your fault.
Off to a great start here.
We're just a punishing game. It may look friendly, but
This is actually like Elden Ring, and you like.
Yeah.
Elden Ring
So
is-
down at the bottom bar are your different abilities. So number 1 is an auto attack toggle, but then 2, 3, and 4 are different abilities. Oh, you got it. You did it.
I was kind of by accident, but I'll okay, so you right click and that menu comes up. Okay.
Yeah, all the interaction patterns are based on WoW style interactions. So left click to target, because it's a tab targeting game. Oh, hello.
Hello.
That's me.
How'd you wave? I'm gonna wave.
Number 7 is the wave emote.
I love it.
And then
We also have emotes that we don't have hooked up. You have to similarly press a hotkey, but we want to have like an emote wheel that you can.
Yeah. Do you do mostly controllers? Are you thinking of controller input for console release, or are you keyboard and mouse?
We hope to support both.
I feel you. No, and also English is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
So your number 8 is a cheer.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. No, number hit escape. Wrong one. Number 9 is a cheer.
Oh no,
There you go.
what's happening?
Number 9 is a cheer.
Okay.
And then 0 is a dance. Though the animations look broken.
Amazing. There's like the howling.
Yeah, it's like one of the few sounds that we have in the game right now. Do you have audio in your build?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like. Ooh.
And we have Tozub here, actually in game, coming to join us as a healer.
Nice.
Yay!
Thank you.
And of course, you're in an MMO, so you have to jump.
Good.
So this is our village zone. Come. And this right here where you are, this is your personal building plot. So in the lower right-hand corner is a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And that will open up your build menu and you can build a house. And you can place it wherever you want.
Oops.
And if you move your character around, it'll change the where you're building it. And you can also rotate it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And the building should go red if you go out of range of where you can build it.
Okay. I'm just gonna plop it down right here.
And then hit the build button to place the foundation. All right. So, and then and this is the foundation for your house, and you double click on it.
Okay.
To add some wood. So if you double click on the wood in your backpack, it should put it in. Then you can click the add button. Again, very prototypey interface.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you've got 2 out of 3. I have, it looks like Tozub added the last bit of wood. And we can all work on building this house together.
I like that it says down at the bottom, it's like adding windows and finishing touches.
And yay, we built the house.
Nice.
Now in our game, once you build a house, that house, if you look up at the top, there's some buffs near your health bar, to the top left. You'll see an icon. If you mouse over it, these icons tell you what they do. So you're resting, and then once you're there for long enough, you get a rested buff, which is a buff that you can take with you. But when you hang out around your house, you basically get faster healing and mana regen. Plus, you also increase your run speed. And that lasts for about 15 minutes. So you always want to have a house buff on when you're out and exploring. But you also have the ability to give people buffs in position number 6, I believe, on your action bar.
Mm-hmm.
If you mouse over it, you'll see Crucible of Flame. So Flame, cast that on yourself. You got yourself targeted, so go ahead and cast that. Now you are stronger, so you can see what that does for you up at the up on your menu, or I'm sorry, up near your health bar. On that, yeah, there you go. So that should increase your health and mana. And I have a similar buff. We all have a buff together. So I'm buffing you, and that increases your damage. It doubles your damage and healing. And then I'll give that to Tozub as well. And Tozub, I think, already gave you his buff, which I believe, what does that one do? It reduces your damage by half. So in combination, when we each have each other's buff, we are twice as powerful.
Okay, that's cool.
And Tozub, who's been building videos for our future Kickstarter, because we're going to play a similar game to you as we struggle to convince publishers of our market, that the warrior has a second buff in position 5 that only works on the warrior. So it makes you stronger as you're out battling. So
Okay.
now that we're all buffed up, let's go on an adventure, shall we? If we
Yes.
come over here, and this giant rock here, if you double click on it, it's a teleport. We call these our beacons.
Are we going to Adventureland?
Yeah, we are.
Heck yeah.
This is our first level. And you being a level designer, you'll either appreciate this or not like it. I don't know. This is a level that's built by an algorithm.
Like procedurally? Or
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a procedural level generator that allows us to kind of set difficulty, set mob distribution and scattering, and also like set like decoration.
Mm-hmm.
But in here is essentially an Easter egg hunt to find the boss teleport to go and defeat the boss. And also we can collect a lot of resources like chopping down trees, mining and gathering from bushes to be able to collect crafting components to upgrade our gear.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of procedural workflows. So
Ooh. And so in order to loot something, go ahead and click on the items. Yeah, there you go.
that makes sense.
And I'm realizing that the trees like yield like 3 times the materials that any other node does, because those break down into 3. But here we go. We've got a creature here that is not attacking us because there's a safe zone right here. But now they're a little bit easier.
That's not what I want to do.
Now that we're all buffed up.
Great.
Okay. Shall we go wander?
Let's
Go
do
find
it.
this boss.
So what is the like kind of is there any lore to this region?
There is, though we haven't installed a lot of the lore into the game yet, but the story of the world is that essentially the reality has been shattered by chaotic magic, and the forces of shadow have engulfed the world, and humanity has to like come together and find each other in these dark places to kind of bring back the light.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a very, very simplistic story, but as you dig a little bit deeper, go ahead and charge in there. Let's
I feel like I'm gonna get my butt kicked here, but
well, we got your back. But as you dig further, you'll realize that there's an entire, faction of like a shadow council and gods that are essentially the driving forces underneath reality, and they're out of balance. And it's up to you to kind of bring them back into
oh my
balance.
gosh!
Uh-oh, you're getting worked. Oh, but I leveled up. Thanks.
Just gonna be over here for a second.
We've got this. Except the healer. Uh-oh.
Ability on cooldown. Okay.
And the wolf.
Somebody that's already dead. Wow, I'm so bad at this.
No, you're learning.
Yeah.
And by the way, we play this every single week, so we may have an advantage.
That's true. I'm back here. Where are you going? I'm done with you.
Nice. And you dinged. Good job.
Level 3.
Level 3.
Ooh.
These wolves are a little bit aggressive. They like to eat us.
Oh.
They're a little bit tougher than the Kraken roots. Ouchies. But we've got a healer. We're fine. We're fine.
Cameras in all the things.
There you go. We did it. We did it.
Okay.
We survived the day. And I dinged to level 3. I like this for me. Uh-oh. and I'm getting
Why
aggro
is this one glowing? Is it because it hasn't looted?
because it has loot.
Ah.
Help!
Oh no.
I keep getting myself into trouble.
Wait, he just disappeared. Wait.
Did he wander into the tree? Here, there's a something not so great in this zone. Like this is clearly a prototype because I can just walk right into the tree.
Oh, yeah, I need some collision.
And no collision.
Oh, he's
I think he's somewhere inside the tree.
yeah, I just looted him. All right, come on over here.
So good. Yes. More Kraken roots. Yeah, so you understand that when you're first building a game, you really want to establish your patterns, define your flow and the core loop before you start replicating more and more zones.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing with Hawthorn?
Well, so we haven't actually started any combat systems. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. There were some early prototypes for combat, but we ended up taking it out because it was not representative of what we actually wanted the combat to look like, and so we felt like it was probably doing more harm than good. So we figured, all right, we'll just focus on all of the kind of village systems and the colony sim, life sim elements.
Mm-hmm.
About those systems because both Jason and our lead designer Bjorn, like they know, like they've done combat throughout their entire careers. It's kind of their bread and butter, and so they're like, we know what that looks like. That's like what we don't know as well as the the simulation side. So that was mostly the focus.
That's smart.
For this
like work on the more risky systems first.
Yeah, and it's core to the game, so we figured we could always add the combat later, because of our we have this, we're picking up a lot of the cozy audience with our game just purely based on the theme and the aesthetic, and so we were like, well, this could lend itself pretty well with targeting this early cozy demographic.
Yeah, there's not a lot of options in that space, and you're probably going to find your typical user there, your player there, than you would with the combat orientation, I'm sure.
But we're all action oriented players, so we are excited about the idea of adding combat, and we have all these ideas around it, and we feel good and confident on our ability to execute on that once we have the resources and it makes sense for the roadmap. We're very excited to jump into the combat portion of things, but right now the main focus is all of the village systems. So yeah, but we are experiencing that kind of from a similar concept, right? Like build out kind of the core loops that kind of prove out the concept
and make them fun.
Yeah, and then just then you can kind of focus on, once you have that in place, you can focus on generating more content.
Yep, I feel you. The glow on these bushes. Our shaders used to work and now they don't, and as with game dev, you take 2 steps forward and then something else breaks and you get 2 steps back.
Yep, that's definitely game dev. You're like, oh, we'll just add this thing that seems pretty low risk, and then before you know it other stuff that's breaking, you're like, what is happening?
Yep. Oh, did I lose you guys? Oh, there you are.
Uh-oh, we got some
Whee!
wolves over here. It's over there too.
So yeah, the fun is kind of exploring and trying to figure out where this damn boss zone is. And also taking on aggro from some wolves that want to eat your face, as they do.
Yes.
So do you have farming in Hawthorn?
We do. Some pretty early versions of farming, just to kind of like, essentially portray the fact that there will be farming. We definitely want to go further with it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's basically all the farming, I say, like, when I say all, I mean like the foundational farming loops, fishing, some very early building loops are in there. Forage.
You're already going to be a hit. And I know this because any game that has fishing is a winner.
Fishing, that's the secret sauce.
It really is. It's half the time when we're playing Stardew Valley, when I'm playing with my kids, it's we go in and we fish because it's like the fastest path to money.
Yeah, and having like a unique take on fishing is definitely helping us. We feel like
For sure.
the two things that really get kind of the oohs and ahs tend to be the like being able to climb on the back of your NPC owl friends, or your like co-op friends. If you're playing with, your in real life friend in the game, you can jump on their back and they can take you along for a ride. If it's an NPC, you're able to take control over and essentially fly on the back of this.
That is so cool. I heard that was one of the things that was very exciting about Gardens was literally you could climb on somebody's back to pick apples.
I heard that as well. Yeah, that kind of cooperative gameplay is definitely something that we're looking to explore. And we have this idea of like asymmetrical abilities, so you're going to need to work together in order to like do certain tasks.
Absolutely.
You can either do them yourself through these kind of cooperative, and when I say cooperative, it's like even if you're soloing it, you can, your NPCs are there to help out and fill the gaps wherever your skill sets aren't able to like do certain things. So you're always able to do the things that need to get done, assuming you've recruited the right abilities and types into your village. But the idea being that it's a collaborative effort, whether it be with your friends in co-op or with your NPC friends.
We need more of that kind of gaming in the world. All right.
Yeah.
We found the boss portal.
Nice.
The beacon to Cobblemot's lair.
All right, here we go.
We still haven't lorified our beacons and whatnot. There is more to do, as you know.
So is this on do you have all your like server infrastructure set up right now, or are you just testing, like have this set up in a like local setup?
This actually is running on a live server. We have our servers up on Google Cloud. I'm the server engineer too.
Nice.
So whenever we make a server change, I have to reset the server, bring it down, update it, and relaunch it again. But that's what I did right before the stream. Was I went in and I reset the server. I erased our prior DB because we can have persistence from session to session to session too. Mm-hmm. That's the fun part, but it's still a little bit, let's just say, rudimentary at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. We have a very rudimentary. I mean, ours is local co-op, and that is the plan for launch. And we do want the ability to have like dedicated servers where people can invite their friends and have a persistent state. But we're focused on the local co-op side of things for right now. So,
All right, before we Leroy Jenkins this thing,
yeah. I was like, my instinct was to start running because wait a second, maybe I should wait to find out what the
well, the strat is give us your buff. I'm just waiting for your buff because you at least help us last longer.
Wait, did I hit the
So
right one?
target yourself and then click on me.
Oh, I gotta wait for it to.
And then yeah.
Do I do it to myself?
Hold on. You're targeting me. And then is it maybe number 6?
Is it 6? How do I?
Yeah.
So, are you supposed to be targeted? And how do I retarget?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is it 6?
There you go. There you go. And then do the same for Tozib. And then do the same for yourself. So you can click on your name at the top.
Oh, the name. Okay.
Or your portrait. On the top left.
Okay. There we go.
And now give yourself that buff there. That's what we're talking about. All right. Now we are doubly powerful. Now you can run in. Let's do this.
YOLO.
I wish us all the best.
Yes.
YOLO. I love that.
Oh no. Oh
Bam.
no. I'm starting out stunned. This is
It's
not
going great so far.
Okay. Well,
Don't worry. My heat-seeking ice spear will get him.
I'm just pressing all the buttons.
Do it. Do it. We got it.
Ah, get out of here.
I wonder if there's like some AI music that can be played. Let's see what happens if I go for epic music.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what we need. This is. Okay. Around. Come on, Heather. You can do this. Oh gosh, no. I'm also not using it the right way. This is embarrassing. Ooh.
I'm trying.
All the things.
Thanks, Restream, or for the soundtrack. I believe in us.
Okay. There's not really such a thing as dodging.
No, there's no dodging. Unfortunately, not in a tab targeting game.
Okay.
You just got to take it. Though, actually, that's great feedback, to be fair. Oh, and I am out of mana. That's no good.
Well, again, probably not the. Is there like any downside to just spamming buttons? Because I am a button master.
No, there is no downside to spamming buttons.
Okay.
Just with number 1, that is a toggle. So if you hit it again, it turns it off.
Oh.
Which having that one behave differently than the other ones gives me like UX pause because they should all function the same way.
Yeah.
All right, well, now I just get to beat up on it with my tiny little stick. I'm out of mana again.
I'm gonna explain why.
We're close.
Yeah. The music is intense. Someone is adding to it.
Uh-oh, let's do this. We can do this.
Okay, go. Is there a sprint?
No sprint. Oh, he turned around. Good.
Huh. I was like, my camera was not even my camera for a second.
Yeah!
Yay.
We did it!
Grab all the things. I don't know what they are, but I'm grabbing them all.
Yay! Oh, you're looting him. That's good.
Yeah. Well,
we did it.
It needs to be like what's the cheering?
Number 9, I think, is the cheer. And you teleported back.
Wait, was that what I was supposed to do?
I'll join you.
Whoops.
Oh, you're fine.
I
if you
pressed
looted him,
all
I mean,
the
where you go next is now that you have all your
materials.
materials, you can go back and actually craft. And so maybe where we did things differently is we did a little bit of everything. We didn't deep dive into the village gameplay, but we have kind of the basics of village gameplay. So if you go to the center of town, I see you.
Is
We
this
now
this building over
in the
here?
build menu, we can now build stuff. I'm going to add what I have.
The snowman. Do you want to build a snowman?
Exactly. It plays in my head every single time.
So yeah, all this stuff workbench. Let's see. I'm just gonna build it out so I can see what.
Build it all. Yeah, whatever resources you've gathered. Let's stick it in there.
Yeah,
We are missing some wood. Oh, you've got the workbench. I've got a bunch of cotton. So I can make a bunch of cotton bolts. Yeah, we have enough gameplay for you to be able to build a whole new set of armor and a new weapon.
Nice. Our like crafting, building mechanics are pretty rudimentary right now, but we obviously want to like expand that out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the state of the demo right now is very much like proof of concept and more for the vibe, and you know, it's like, oh, crafting. You can kind of extrapolate and know that this goes further and deeper with more content as time goes on.
Relatable. I mean, that's exactly what we went for. We wanted to have like a sense of the style of gameplay. And one of our other proof points is that we're across platforms. So, you know, you can play on your phone I'm playing on a Mac. Are you playing on PC?
PC, yeah.
Yeah. So here we are on 3 different platforms playing together in the same world. We thought that that's like kind of huge.
Yeah. Yeah. How many, sorry, I didn't check how many of these bolts of...
I think we need 8, but I have a bunch of them.
Okay.
But if you use them, then I'll use them for mine for gear.
Correct.
I'm making myself a new outfit. All right. Cool. I have all my new gear. I'm so excited. Upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. Now, if only I had a new outfit that it would change to. Ooh, yep, let's do this.
Yeah, I always like with 4X and strategy games, I always wanted to be like down on the ground floor, like a part of the action. And like, you know, stuff like this makes me feel more like that.
One of the ways that I describe our village gameplay is that it's like a 4X tech tree, but with your friends. So instead of you being like, ooh, congratulations, level 6.
Level 6. Oh, yeah.
But like instead of you having units that are doing the building work, like it's you and your friends that are doing the building work. And then you have, you know, requirements to get to the next tier of buildings. So you build a house or 3 houses to unlock the arcane mill, that kind of thing. but we haven't built out the whole tech tree. It's again like kind of projection
Mhm.
implication of that tree. Ooh,
Do you have
I think it was giving you some silver to make yourself some armor. So go ahead and accept. There you go.
Okay.
Now you have it in your inventory, and now you can craft yourself some new gear.
So let's see. We've got
You can
these.
build the silvered boots, the warrior armor.
Yeah. Let's go with. I like that it just kind of automatically has it there in the slots.
Mm-hmm.
Silver cap.
We still have some UI work to do. We mostly like made it pretty for GDC for this year.
I mean, yeah, we had to kind of throw in some placeholder UI and dialogue
Mm-hmm.
systems just so that, you know, it's really hard to condense a sandbox experience into a like controlled, you know, hour and a half long experience.
Mm-hmm.
So we were finding when we would have somebody externally play the game, we were like, oh, they're kind of they don't know what to do. Like if they need some sort of like tutorialization. So we ended up using our dialogue system to kind of help guide the player along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It works for now. Like we definitely want to do more with it.
For sure.
All right. So
Hey, do you have any silver left? Can you make me a sycamore wand?
I sure can.
There, and then the sycamore wand is the next one.
How do I give it? How do I give? Oh wait, did I just make a hammer instead or a staff?
You made the staff.
Whoops. Hopefully I have enough to make
That's
you.
okay.
Do you want a staff?
You do.
Instead? I promise I can read.
All right. So then if you target me,
All right.
and there's a trade button that appears up near the top.
Oh, gotcha. Up there. Okay. I just
And then you kind of in there, the wand is in there somewhere.
There it is.
There it is. A double click on it in your inventory, maybe.
Double clicks not doing the
Or
thing.
drag it.
Do I need to? Oh, I'm putting it in the wrong.
Oh, there you go.
I was putting it in the top.
I accept. You accept.
Sweet.
Oh, thanks.
I can't switch accounts until that user has signed the
Alexa, stop. She's talking about
He always
something
does
about
that too.
accounts.
Cool.
All right. Cool.
All right. So just for funsies, so the little helmet down on the lower right is your character sheet.
Okay.
You've got a little bit of a, yeah. So the back, that's your armor. And then the helmet, 2 slots over, will show you your stats down in the menu bar down below.
Okay.
And now as you equip your character, like if you click on the items in your inventory,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see all your damage go up. So you want to wear your new, there you go.
It's like
And then-
you click on it, it's swapping it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you have 18 damage,
More.
19 damage.
What else did I make?
You made a hammer.
Oh, sweet. Is that better? 8. Is that the same?
Oh, no, wait, hold on.
That increased to healing.
The
No,
sycamore staff is,
definitely better.
yeah, that's cool. I haven't seen a warrior yet with a sycamore staff, but let's take a look.
Well,
You look pretty good with that. That's a healer staff technically, but I'm down.
am I able to make a sword or something? Let's see.
You're able to make a hammer, but I think you need more components to do that.
Yeah.
But you wanna test it out? see how well your 18 damage does, or 19 damage?
Yeah, let's go do it.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to do a little dev cheat because as one does. And I'm going to summon a baddie right here. You ready?
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, hey, you again.
Hey, friend.
Yes.
Oh, and he stunned me. Of course he did. Maybe we'll get some better loot off of him this time. See how much better we do. Oh my gosh, I have so much more mana now with this new gear. Yeah. We got this. Bad guy showed up at home.
All right. I like his tattoo. His fur.
So he is a lieutenant within the Shadow Army.
How big is
He's
your
one
team
of-
right now? I'm curious.
Our team right now is about 6 volunteers. I'm the only one who's like really full-time,
Mhm.
but I also had to start up a whole new company in order to get any funding. And we actually just landed funding, but for the other company. Oh no, you died. I'm going to die.
Oh, no.
Oh no, this didn't
Oh
go as
no.
well
What
as
happened? I started asking questions and
I
I'm coming.
Rutro. We need to buff up. I think that's partly it.
So you're doing like licensed IPs with
Yeah,
novels, right?
I started up another company, which is kind of partially
What?
building out the infrastructure that we would need for Haven. Because with Haven, what I wanted to do was create a game that was kind of like Fortnite, where you could open up portals. Oh God, he's coming to eat me. Good. If you stay in the circle around your beacon, it's a safe zone, so you won't get eaten. But similar to Fortnite, we wanted to be able to kind of go into portals into other fantasy worlds and go on adventures there. But there was no way to actually get access to really cool IPs to unlock and get that licensing worked out. So I pitched the idea of building that back-end company instead of us doing it as part of Unleashed, and we got traction with it. And literally, we just got money in our bank account like a week ago.
It's exciting.
It's
What inspired you to make the pivot?
the fact that nobody was funding actual games, which is heartbreaking, but I want to kind of shorten the distance between us. Like one of the key feedback points was, oh, it's a brand new IP. Nobody's going to care. You need to partner up with an IP in order to get your game made.
Which is like, they're, especially VCs, they're obsessed with this idea of like funding, platforms, right? They want to go big in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But the irony is, you don't just start building a platform. Like all big game platforms started as content companies. Like, they created a game. Either the game was successful and they got the money to continue expanding and building a platform, or their game failed and they pivoted and started with a small niche thing and expanded it out into, what eventually becomes a platform.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
start with a big thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some feedback here. People are still making real games. I love it. Go Heather C and team.
Yep. I mean, there's still a desire out there I think there's a huge desire for new IPs. It's just there's a misalignment with investment opportunities.
Yep.
And what the market actually wants. And, there just needs to be teams that go out and do their own thing and prove that new IPs are still desired. In fact, I think players are kind of tired of, IP,
There's
the same
IP.
IP over and over and over again, rehashed.
Oh God, sequelitis is hitting games right
Oh,
now.
Oh yeah.
Like, and people get tired of playing the same game over and over and over again.
Yep. It's a risk, right? And it's a matter of whether investors and publishers are willing to take the risk. And right now they're not, unfortunately. But
It's
so
really unfortunate.
developers having to take all the risk.
Seriously. But it's on us now, the people that don't have the resources to take on all the risk and to grassroots build the way that we are, with the hopes that somehow it happens. Like,
Yeah.
and you can't bring a game to market, at the quality level that we know the players are expecting, because we're competing with these giant budget titles. Like, our competition is GTA 6 for attention.
Luckily we're in an era right now where like indie titles are taking off and are able to find a good portion of market share. And if you're a small team, even if you really find this niche community that's very, very excited about your game, if you are keeping costs down, it's sustainable. That's essentially where we're looking. It's like we know we have this community that's very passionate about the game. We just need to like focus in on what they're interested in seeing and build the game for them, and then grow it over time. And that's just the climate we're in right now. Like,
unfortunately,
we
got them on the run too.
Yeah,
we got this, Heather.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. That was kind of painful though. Like
we kept like chain dying. That's what I get for summoning a baddie into our house.
Yes.
All right. Was there any cool loot?
I grabbed whatever. Sorry, I didn't look at what the loot was. I just grabbed everything because
You might have gotten an executioner's axe.
Is that what it was?
Maybe I didn't see what you looted. Check your in. The backpack.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got.
Nope.
Here.
You got a tooth of some sort.
Huh.
Pristine.
Yeah. This maybe looks like it was.
We need to fix the loot table on the boss, because sometimes the loot is a little anticlimactic. Womp womp.
I don't know enough about the loot yet to be like, oh, disappointed or.
Yeah, exactly. But there is a piece of that, at least for right now. All right. Well, that's our little game.
Nice. Yeah.
Right, let's bump back over into our little like interview format. And what did you think of Haven?
I think it's great. I like the procedural dungeons, being able to go and basically have a new experience every time you go in. I think that's really smart, just because, especially if you're a team with very little resources, being able to create something that feels fresh, even with like limited resources, is basically the way to go. For me, being able to like, even though I'm completely obviously not coordinated right now, but being able to like
dodge. It was the first time you had ever played MMO style gameplay, so you are given a massive pass.
Yes, indeed. I like to like try to move around quickly. So like if there was like a way to dodge, I feel like that would be something I'd be like super into. But I get that there's, you're not going to go and say you want that kind of action feel if it's like, a completely different type of combat. So totally understand if that's not the intent with, with this style of gameplay.
But there's ways actually to get like the vibe of a dodge. And you could add a really cool animation to like the warrior, and then essentially make yourself invulnerable for a second.
Yeah.
and like get that action vibe without going full action combat.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a vibe. Like I'm not a min-maxer. I don't, I'm not paying attention to whether things are playing out in an expected way. I'm all about like, how does it feel? Like I want to just be able to like locomote in ways that feel good, I that tends to be my play, preference. So being able to have something that just like gives this good animation feel of like dodging out of the way,
for sure,
for me would be like very satisfying. I love all the like building, crafting. I'm like that's stuff. I love building, right? I'm an environment artist, so going in and placing assets and checking things out. Like I would say that for the first 10 years of my career playing video games as a professional game developer, I just, this would literally be my experience. I'd go around and I'd just be like looking at the art, like moving the camera around everything and trying to like pin the camera up to something close to like look at the materials. And so I'm not your like standard gamer. I tend to kind of look at things in these very weird ways that gamers don't tend to do. So
I mean, it's sometimes they do. I don't know. Our like, if I was in an ideal world and I had all the resources in the world, I would go and ask the creator of Tiny Glade to join our team and help it like build a village that way, but collaboratively. I think that's kind of my dream village building game.
Yeah, they built a custom engine for being able to create procedural content like that at runtime.
It's pretty incredible what they've done. Uh-oh.
Coming in, I was like, no, I'll get back to you in a little bit.
But you froze too. But it's all good.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you so much for coming in and playing our little game and giving us your feedback. Any final thoughts?
Oh yeah, I realized I was still sitting here playing, even though it's not. I'm just like running around looking at stuff.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see how this like develops over time. I know that these like early days are incredibly painful, just trying to make progress with literally no resources. So I'm really, I think we met last DICE, right? Not this past DICE, but the year before that, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember you like, there were like conversations that we had where I got the sense that, and this was still before, I feel like I was still kind of in denial that like, I thought we were going to get funding still, right? And it was like, in this like hopeful place. And so like, and I think you had been further along in the like fundraising process. And so I just remember having this sense of like, oh, like I feel like my conversation with you was kind of probably one of the first ones that I had where it was like reality was kind of starting to sink in a bit.
Oh no, I was the downer.
No, it wasn't in the downer kind of way. You were actually like very fired up and very inspirational, and I was like, okay, like just thinking about like needing to reframe the scrappiness and like thinking, I think it was very helpful. So there's like, I want to see this game and I want to see your team succeed. And so anything we can do on our end to kind of help promote and propel things.
You being here is that like, kind of blending our audiences, us, like it's the greatest pleasure when I can bring a project like yours onto the stream and show it off and actually make a meaningful difference. I'm going to go check the Kickstarter again because y'all, I hope those numbers have gone up. Let's see. Yep, they have. They've gone up another $500.
Yay.
Yes. Good job, stream viewers. You guys did an amazing job. Hold on. Let me put that URL back up there. Because that's what we're here for, right there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like, I would love to be more involved in indie communities and trying to find ways that we can all support each other, because it really feels like we're kind of in this all together.
We
and
are.
Us being together and supporting one another, and like we have more to gain from that than like any kind of, I don't know, like competitiveness, right? Because we're all kind of in this like, you know, weathering the like rocky waves together, and I think helping to like support the ecosystem does more good than anything. And so I've been thinking about this a lot, even though I like haven't had a lot of time to actually put any of this into action. But I've been thinking a lot about communities and like, you know, obviously like player communities, but developer communities as well. And I know I would love to like have conversations with you offline about
Absolutely.
how we can help contribute to that. So, and I feel like this, you know, these kind of things feel like the start of that. So.
Absolutely. And if you want to sign up for our alpha, which will come as soon as we get a little bit more funding and we can get our back end updated, go to haven.unleashed.games.com. Sorry, haven.unleashedgames.com. And you can enter in your email address and you'll get notified of every time we go live and who our guests are, as well as any updates to the team. But more importantly, y'all back this Kickstarter and help Heather and her team like survive and thrive so that we can see Hawthorn come to life. And also join us. We'll figure out when we can actually play Hawthorn here live on the stream. So come back either next Friday or the Friday after. When does the Kickstarter end, by the way, Heather?
It's actually, well, it ends on the 5th, the same day that the Nintendo Switch 2 launches. So yay.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we are. The first day of our campaign was on the same day that the GTA 6 trailer dropped. And then the last day of our campaign is Nintendo Switch 2 coming out. So we really picked a great time to.
Well, how are you to know, right? Like we're fighting the tide, but as the saying goes, a rising tide also lifts all boats, which is kind of the spirit of us working together to try to overcome the noise of the big players as us little guys try to pull through and make it. So
yeah, absolutely.
I wish nothing but the best for you and your team. I'm so excited for your game. And to close this down, I'm actually going to play your trailer one more time because I love it so much. Is that okay?
You should play the gameplay trailer. Do you?
Oh, I don't think I have that one.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I was gonna say if you pull it up on like.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, it is. It's here. I'll
give me the link.
Here. Should have had that up. Apologies. Didn't really think about doing that.
That's okay.
All right. Here's.
And thanks, Tozeb, for keeping us alive.
Here, I'll just put it.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. It would have been very embarrassing if I didn't have a healer there to save my butt.
Oh my goodness, you can't even play our game without a healer, like, and that's kind of somewhat the point, right?
Yeah.
All right, here, let's watch through this
gameplay trailer that we announced Hawthorn back in October as really like a last-ditch effort to save the project, and we got a lot of really great reception from it.
All right, let's check it out. Otters dancing.
That scene gets everybody. The ale dancing on the table. You can see people smile and flush. You can set a table, particularly.
Weather.
Hawthorn.
So good.
Thanks.
I want to
Yeah,
find your Steam link too and paste it into chat.
Yep, we're on Steam. We've got the website playhawthorn.com. You can go up and sign up to get. We're still getting all of our like newsletter infrastructure in place. It's a bit of a it's literally me running all of the like.
Yep, it's one more thing to do, and like half the time I don't remember to send out the email to announce the stream until like the morning of.
Yeah,
It's
hard.
and it's just you, like you're one human being and keeping track of all these things.
Yeah.
But Scourge says it reminds him of a Disney film.
Yeah, there was. I mean, I feel like in the 80s and 90s there was this like the golden era of anthropomorphic animal stories, and then I feel like in the 2000s it just kind of like started drying up, and we didn't see them as often. And I'm like, what happened to all the like charming anthropomorphic woodland animal stories? And so
we stopped making delightful or charming content, and then went for like epic and aggressive and action. Or like extreme drama.
Yeah.
It's like shock value. Now everybody's just obsessed with like, I call it murder porn. It's all about serial killers or, SVU style stuff. Like what happened to stuff that was just, delightful.
Yeah.
Heartwarming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Hawthorn is absolutely. So be sure to back Hawthorn, wish list it, and catch us next time when we have Heather here and we'll play Hawthorn instead of Haven. We'll make it the Hawthorn playtest.
Yeah, we'll maybe next week or the week after we'll figure out a time.
We'll find a time. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for watching our little stream, and we'll catch you all next Friday. Have an amazing weekend. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hit that button and buy a t-shirt with a dragon on it, and that will help us keep making some awesome games. Looks like this. I've already seen a Unleashed t-shirt out in the wild that I wasn't wearing, and I'm super excited about seeing more of them. So, yeah, buy a t-shirt.